Hi, I'm Dr. Bodzioch from Atlanta Chiropractic in Stoneham, Mass. Welcome to Back Hacks with Power Golf. And our first episode is on death grips, the common downfall of golfers. So death grip is a compensation of individuals who lose their functionality of motion and mobility and actual stretch in the structure. So 50 years old and up, here's the biggest postural change. Your head goes forward, your shoulders start going forward, okay? And when your head goes forward and your shoulders start to go forward, you start compensating your swing and you start adapting your swing. You get a little frustrated, and what do you start doing? The death grip. So you start holding onto the club tighter and you start using muscles to work that swing versus the fluency and the mechanics of the swing. And then it just goes down the hill from there, okay? The more muscles and the more irritable you get and the more you try to grip that club and use that musculature, you just start driving that ball into the ground versus driving it for distance, driving it for power, driving it for consistency, okay? Understand it's not your fault. I see instructors all the time try to say swing shoulder to shoulder, but if you have that posture where your head's forward and your shoulders are forward, you're already collapsing your thoracic cage, which produces the mechanics of that swing. So it's not your fault. It's the structure making structural changes and compensations and adaptations as we grow older. And if we don't keep up with it with stretches or exercises, that's the outcome. So the second thing that happens with the death grip is as you're gripping the club and you're tightening up your forearms and tightening up your sternum and your pecs, okay, you're gonna pull your head up, or as they call it, sneak peek, okay, as my patient Mark calls it, okay? So you're down, you pull your head up. As soon as you pull your head up, what happens? You're topping the ball, you're slicing it, or you're slicing it to the left, or you're slicing it to the right, okay? So again, no fluency from going shoulder to shoulder, no fluency of rotation, no fluency of speed in your swing. And again, right, power, strength, and consistency is what we want in that swing. So think about that. So the third thing is rotating your hips, okay? So we got a box. The box is from shoulder to shoulder, okay? So as you start to death grip that club, okay, everything collapses, okay? And as you start to swing, you start to compensate because you're gonna have no movement in your thoracic cage or your sternum. So you start to accentuate the rotation in your hips, and now you start coming out of the box, okay? So the box is here, okay? You start rotating out of the box to make that compensation. So again, you're just adapting. Other parts of the body start to adapt because you're starting to shut down the actual main axis of the swing, which is again your spine, right? So you only get one of these spines. If you don't have and you don't keep the motion or mobility in the spine, then you have no rotation, you have no fluency, you have no power, because everything starts from the rotation of that spine and opening up those hips and going shoulder to shoulder. But you can't do that if you're arthritic, if you have the rounded shoulders, if the head's collapsing and you're compressing this S line or your S swing, okay, which is the circumference of your swing.